Morning students, hope you all are fine. Let's get back to studies. Let's start with a new chapter, diversity and discrimination from Pol Science. Now we already know the meaning of diversity, isn't it? Diversity means difference or dissimilarity, which we have already studied in the previous chapter, to be different in different aspects. Like in India, we are a land of unity in diversity. We have discussed, we have different religion, different caste, different food, different culture, different clothing, yet we are united. So that is the essence of unity in diversity. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the concepts of difference, inequality, prejudice, stereotype and discrimination. So let's get started. We know that there are so many things which are different between two individuals or among the group in which we live. The manner in which we live, how we talk, how we eat, how we play, and so many other aspects. So we are so different, isn't it? This is what is our diversity. We are so different, yet we are so together. So in India, we have so many religions. There are major 8 religions and almost 1600 languages are there, and major 8 religions are there in India alone. And this diversity exists in different forms, which we can see in our day-to-day lives. Different people have different mother tongue, like your mother tongue is different from my mother tongue, yet we know a common language, maybe Hindi, maybe English. That's how we communicate. There are different dance forms, different musics. You go to different state and you will get different forms of dance, music, language and other things. And this diversity keeps us united in India. But we know in the previous chapter we studied about Samir Ek and Samir Do and the differences between them. So this diversity is not always celebrated, means people always do not feel comfortable about this diversity. Now I ask you a simple question. Do you feel very comfortable in breaking the ice or being friendly with a person who is quite different from you? Maybe in looks, maybe in age, maybe in other aspect. Example, you board the train or a bus, and in the train or bus you meet a person who is physically handicapped. So how you approach the person who is different from you, that is what is the essence of diversity. Sometimes we meet people who are very different from us. They are very much unfamiliar, they are very much different from what we are, and maybe their opinions are also different. Now here discussing about opinions becomes very important, because we should always respect the opinion of each other. That is a very important thing. We should always respect each other's opinion. Now we are going to start with some statements which are given. Like some people say that the villagers are ignorant or they are knave people. Now villagers are ignorant or knave means what? Ignorant or knave means they don't know most of the things. We say ye to dehati hai. Such statements are made at times. And there are also opinions as such that city people are very money minded and they are lazy. So it is said that the city people, the people who dwell in the city, they are money minded, they are more of materialistic. It is said that nowadays the city people, they are just running behind money and they are not at all concerned about family emotions and other things, and they are also lazy. So whether these statements are right or not, that you have to decide. Now, can you generalize everyone into a category? Do you think that all villagers are ignorant? No. Nowadays, you see, in the village also there is so much prosperity, there is so much of development happening. Villagers are getting educated, they are also prospering equally. So how can you call them ignorant? Now city people, can you say all city people are just money minded and lazy? City people are also working day in and day out, and they are taking care of the family, friends, etc. So how can we generalize? We cannot. So when our opinions about people are negative, when we form any preconceived notion about any people, any person, and we call them maybe lazy, maybe stingy. Now what is the meaning of the word stingy? Stingy means conjuice, which we also call parsimonious, person who is not willing to spend money, that is stingy. Okay, so then these become the prejudices that we carry about. So what is prejudice? First let us understand what is given in the book, and then we'll deep dive into it. So prejudice means actually to judge other people negatively or to see them as inferior. When we talk of prejudice, what does prejudice actually means? Prejudice means to judge other people negatively. You will please go on underlining the lines with me, which I am, because it is very important. So prejudice means to judge people negatively or to see them as inferior. So when we judge people, means we think that a person will be like that only. Example, the example given in your book is, suppose you consider English to be the best language. So can you consider anything to be the best? See, everything has one or the other alternative. We cannot say one thing is the best and nothing can beat it. So if you feel that English is the best language and other languages are not important, if you feel English is an important language, that is totally right. But the moment you start feeling that English is the best language and other languages are not important, then we are judging other languages negatively. And when you start judging other languages, or when you start forming negative opinion about other people, other things, that moment you start creating a prejudice about it. Okay, so when you feel that English is the best language and other languages are not important, then you will not respect the people who do not speak English or who speak other languages. Suppose a Britisher feels that English is the best language and everyone in every nook and corner of the world should know English only. That means he will not respect a German, he will not respect a French. This is just a hypothetical situation. Please try to understand that. So what is prejudice? Prejudice means to judge other people negatively or to see them as inferior. And so what are we doing in prejudice? We are forming negative conclusions about a person or a group of person, and this prejudice can lead to what? Discrimination. Okay, when you form negative opinion about a person or a group of people, then you do what? Then you lead to discrimination. And what is discrimination? We will study it later on. It is a negative behavior towards member of a group, or it is unequal treatment to the members of a group. Okay, so I hope we understood the meaning of prejudice. So what is prejudice? Prejudice means to judge other people negatively or to see them as inferior. Or in other words, we may say that prejudice is a strong, unreasonable feeling of not liking or trusting someone based on maybe their race, their religion, their gender, their skin color, anything. You do not like any person, you have an unreasonable feeling of liking or not trusting someone based on their skin color, their gender, their race, their caste, their religion, anything. And it is a very wrong thing. Okay, so example, the black people in America also, you can see the example of prejudice where black people are discriminated against and there are many hate crimes happening against them. Let's proceed. So now we can be prejudiced about many things like people's religions, their beliefs. We may believe that a person from a particular religion is like that only or does that in that manner only. So that is again forming a negative opinion or judging person, and this will lead to discrimination. So we can be prejudiced about many things. Example, people's religions, their beliefs, the color of their skin tone, everything is different from us. You cannot form negative opinion about them. The clothes they wear, this is very common in India particularly, where particularly women in many places are not allowed to wear shorts, and if they do, then negative opinions are formed that maybe the girl is not from a good family, and something like that. But now changes are coming, and we hope that we will bring in more positive changes. So let's proceed. So prejudice can be on the basis of people's religious beliefs, on the basis of their skin tone, on the basis of the region they come from, on the basis of the accent they speak, how you speak. Accent is the way you speak, how you speak. Like Tamil Nadu person's English will be different from the English of a person residing in Kolkata, or the person speaking English who resides in Delhi. There is difference in accent, isn't it? So on the basis of that also people are prejudiced. The clothes they wear, often our prejudices about others are so strong that we don't want to form friendship with them, and this is very wrong. This may hurt them. Now suppose you have a prejudice that you will not be friendly with a person who is short in height, so, or is a dwarf. So, is it a good thing? That person will be alienated because of your such a behavior. What is alienated means totally separated. Okay, that person will be aloof or alienated because of your behavior. So, what is prejudice? First thing, forming negative opinion about a person or a group, or to judge them negatively. And prejudice leads to what? Discrimination. This is also equally important. Please understand this thing, that prejudice leads to discrimination. Prejudice often will lead to discrimination. And what is discrimination? Unfair treatment of one person from that of the other. Suppose in a class I distribute sweets and I give sweets to everyone except one student. So that person is being discriminated against by me, and that is totally wrong. So I hope we have understood till now. So we have a small exercise. Let us do that. Look at the statements below that you believe to be true. It is given on the same page number 14, and please open the book and sit when you are studying with me. Look at the statements below that you believe to be true about rural and urban India. Tick mark those that you agree. I'm explaining you the question. You will be solving it at home as your homework. Tick mark those that you agree with. Do you have prejudice against rural or urban people? Find out if this is shared by others and discuss the reasons why people have these prejudices. So first question, do you have prejudice against rural or urban people? If you see a person from rural background wearing maybe dhoti kurta, maybe sari, which is a little bit tattered or something, do you call them cattle class? Do you discriminate against them? Do you have a prejudice? Yes, no, is it justified? Okay, I want to know it from you. And if you are from rural background, do you discriminate against the person from urban background? That, oh, they do a lot of show off and other things, they are money minded, they don't care about their own people. Any prejudice if you have, so why, from where did you form this notion in your mind, and is it justified? Find out if this is shared by other people also. Discuss it with your family members, talk with your siblings, your parents, if they also have such a sort of a belief. Can you list some of the prejudices that you have noticed around you? This you have to write in your notebook, and you have to submit it to me. How do they affect the ways in which people treat each other? So you have to list some of the prejudices that you have noticed around you. It may be any negative opinion, maybe the maid servants who come to your home. Maybe you have an opinion that if you leave them alone, they may steal your things. So this is a prejudice which is not justified. So that you have noticed around, how do they affect the ways in which people treat each other? Very important point. People must treat each other with respect and in a dignified manner. What you do, you get the same thing in return. So if you treat someone badly, you will also be treated badly by that person or some other person. Now, these are some of the prejudices you'll be reading and you'll be ticking them. I'm just explaining. More than 50% of all Indians live in the villages. Do you think so? And what is the fact? Check with it. More than people in villages do not like to use modern technology. Is it so? What do you feel? you have to tick. In the peak harvesting and plantation season, families spend 12 to 14 hours working in the fields. Villages are forced to migrate to cities in search of work. Now, on urban people, the prejudices: life in the city is easy, people here are spoilt and lazy. Is it true? What do you think? And I want the justification as well. In cities, families spend very little time with each other. Next, people in cities only care about money and not about people, and living in a city is expensive. A large part of people's earning is spent on rent and transport. So let's proceed. Now we'll be understanding the concept of stereotype. Before this, just give me a moment. Just a minute. Yes. You can look here how we are diverse or different people are there, yet they are together. So this picture explains what it explains here: diversity. Now this is discrimination. What is discrimination? It is the negative or unfair treatment towards the member of any group or individual based on characteristics, maybe their religion, their caste, their gender, age, physical disability, etc. I have written the meanings, the definitions along with the examples, and I'll be sending this PDF to you today. Please go through, and the definitions must be written by you in your notebook as well. I'll be checking it when you come back. Now, prejudice, we already know: to judge other people negatively or to see them as inferior. It is a strong, unreasonable feeling of not liking or trusting someone based on characteristics which may be race, religion, caste, gender. Example: if we think that English is the best language and other languages are not as important, then we will not respect the people who speak in English. Now, some more examples which I wanted to give from prejudice. Studies have found that the job applicants with non-Anglo sounding — what is Anglo sounding? Anglo-English. Anglo comes from the word English. That is, it is related to the word English. Anglo-English. The Britishers, they were referred usually to as Anglo, and the Britishers who settled in India, they were called Anglo-Indians. So from there originated Anglo-English. So non-Anglo means if you are able to speak English properly in a British or American accent, then you are more likely to call for interview than those who can't speak. And this example says that the applicants with non-Anglo sounding names means, suppose you have an Indian name and suppose you have an Anglo name. Someone's name is Ronaldo and someone's name is Rahul. Ronaldo is more likely to be called for the interview. So this is a prejudice, means prejudgment, notion which is fixed in your mind that the people with Anglo names, they are more smart, more decent, more competent for the job. Now, stereotype. What is stereotype? Stereotype is a belief which may be negative or positive both, but most probably it is negative, about the characteristics of a group that is applied generally to the most members of the group. That means when we speak of stereotype, we try to fix or fit a large number of people into one image. Suppose one person from any particular community or religion turns out to be a thief. Does that mean that every single individual from that community is a thief? No, we cannot say that. But if we say that, then we are categorizing or fixing large number of people into one group, and that is stereotyping. So stereotyping is what it is a belief which is formed with time, and stereotype can be defined as a fixed idea that many people have about a thing or a group that is often untrue. I have given some examples like black athletes are believed to be more athletic yet less intelligent than their counterparts. Means the athletics who have a brown or black skin, they are believed to be more athletic, more sporty, yet they are believed to be less intelligent. Means physically they are strong, but mentally they are not considered to be as strong as their counterparts who are white or who are of other skin tone. Next, boys don't cry, a very common stereotype which is prevalent in the society. From the very early childhood, boys are taught that they cannot cry and they cannot express their feelings openly because they are meant to be rough and tough, and it is not right. It is due to this that the men or the boys in the society, they are made to suppress their feelings. Next is women are bad drivers, another very common stereotype which is prevalent in the society. It is believed, it is the notion which is formed, it is a fixed idea which is there in the mind of many people that women are bad drivers. Oh, if a woman is driving a car or is riding a scooty or anything, maybe we are prone to accidents, so better to leave the way. These are the jokes or the memes which are made nowadays. So before proceeding, let's get back to the chapter once again. So, all of us are familiar with gender differences, isn't it? We know that what it means to be a boy or a girl. We are born as boys or girls, and there is also another gender known as the third gender, about which you will learn in the higher classes. And here, before understanding in depth the meaning of stereotype, there are some statements. Now this will also be a homework. I'm explaining you this thing, and both these questions given on page number 14 and 15, you will be doing it in your book only, but I want you to know the explanation as I'll be asking it to you when you get back. So arrange the statements given below in these two sections of girls and boys according to what do you think is appropriate for the sections. Means what you have heard from the society, what you think is appropriate. Here also you can see the three friends together, they are making fun of a boy on some ground. So let us discuss this. They are well behaved, girls or boys. Who is supposed to be well behaved? You will put it under that column. Now they are soft spoken and gentle. They are physically strong. They are naughty. They are good at dance and painting. They don't cry. They are rowdy. They are good at sports. They are good at cooking. They are emotional. Now check. Now tomorrow in the next class we will be checking that which statement you have put under which head and the reasons for doing that we'll be discussing. Now if we take this statement, they don't cry, you see that this quality is generally associated with boys and men. As babies or children, when boys fall and hurt themselves, they are taught not to cry, isn't it? लड़के नहीं रोते हैं, boys don't cry. This is very commonly associated with what? It is very commonly associated with boys and men. They are taught that they should not cry. Because why? Because they are brave. Because they are brave. As children grow up, they start believing that boys do not cry even if they feel like crying, and they stop themselves from expressing their feelings, and this is very bad. This often leads to emotional trauma, depression and other things, and boys have developed a tendency that if they cry, it will be perceived as a sign of weakness, which is very, very wrong. So even though both boys and girls sometimes want to cry, especially if they are angry or they want to express their feelings, they are in pain, so in that case both should be allowed to express their feelings openly. This society made or preconceived notions of the society needs to change. Now let's see, there is a picture over here about discrimination. Please see the first picture. People say all sort of things. I am limp, I lisp, all this more. Sometimes I feel so sad and sore. Folks make fun. It's nothing new. If you were I, what would you do? There is a boy here which has been expressed as a cartoon. The boy is physically handicapped or challenged, who is not able to walk without the help of walkers. So this boy is made fun of by other people. He's called limp. It is said that he lisp. That is, वो चल नहीं पाता है, लंगड़ाता है. Such words are used, that he's not able to walk properly. So, and people laugh at him, people mock him. So it is nothing new for him because he has faced it since his childhood. Now, if you were in his place, what would you do? Would you feel sad? Would you feel happy? Would you ask other people to stop? Just give it a thought. Another one, you look so different. There is a girl who is sitting on a wheelchair and the two boys are teasing her. You look so different. I am a person, I feel shy from staying eyes. I want to hide. From staring eyes, I want to hide. So, this girl, she's an introvert person. She wants to hide from other people. She doesn't want to look into the eyes of those people who are staring at her. Now, is her mind okay? Another girl who is on a wheelchair and she's painting. She's painting beautifully. Just because my legs are wobbly, wobbly means weak. If you don't know, please mark it and write down wobbly means what? Wobbly means weak. So, just because my legs are weak, people think my mind is wobbly too. So, just because her legs are weak, do you think her mind is also weak? No. Such stereotypes should not be allowed at all. Now, the children you see in the illustrations here were seen as disabled. The term here has been changed and now the term is children with special needs. Now, this is a very good thing which has been done by the government, by different NGOs and social agencies. We call them specially abled children. We call who are physically challenged as people who are specially abled, or we call them as children with special needs. So common stereotypes about them are given in the letters. Their own feelings and thoughts are also given. Discuss what these children are saying about the stereotypes, and do you think children with special needs should be a part of regular school or study in separate school? Now, nowadays the government is focusing on what? The government is focusing on inclusive studies, inclusive education. Nowadays the government is focusing on inclusive education wherein everyone should study together, be it a handicapped or a specially abled, a person who is having some mental disability or maybe some physical disability. They all should study together. Why do you think the government is doing so? Please think about it, and I want the answer in the next session. Okay, so please think about it and prepare a short note on inclusive education. Thank you. Just a moment, please. So I hope you understood clearly the meaning of prejudice and the meaning of stereotype. So we talked about these children, especially now just getting back to the stereotype and winding it up. So even though both boys and girls sometimes want to cry, especially if they are angry or they are in pain, they grow older. Boys learn or teach themselves not to cry. If a boy cries, he feels that others will tease him or mock him or laugh at him, and this stops him from expressing himself in front of others. So this is the way the boys and girls are they are taught to live or they are brought up. And these statements we hear constantly, isn't it? When a girl shouts, she is asked to speak softly, and when a girl giggles loudly, she is also asked to laugh loud, not laugh so loudly and in such a cacophonous sound. So we hear these statements and we often accept them without. When mama says that do something, maybe we do or maybe we don't do. But these stereotypes, that the girls should not behave like this, the boys should not cry, we often believe them and accept them and start believing them, and we try to fit into that image. Stereotype is always about fixing people into one image. Okay, stereotype is always about fixing people into one image. Means, as I gave you the example of black athletes. So black athletes, if I try to fit into the image, suppose black athletes. So whenever you see black athletes, all black athletes, you will think that they are physically strong. You will categorize them as physically strong, and but you will also categorize them as mentally weak or mentally not so developed. So it is again a wrong categorization. So we are doing stereotypes again. When people say that people who belong to a particular community or religion or sex, which means gender, race or economical background, are stingy. Stingy means person who is not willing to spend much money. Parsimonious, stingy, lazy, criminal or dumb, they are using stereotypes. Suppose you say the whole person of an entire whole religion or country, you categorize them as terrorists. Is it right? No. You categorize one full community as stingy. Is it right? No. Now, there are stingy people as well as generous people everywhere. Even the very rich people, at times you will find them to be stingy, and the people from, even at times it has been seen that the people who are poor, they have a big heart. So in every country, in every religion, every group, whether rich or poor, male or female, you will find such kind of demarcations, and you cannot categorize everyone just on the basis of the stereotype. And just because some people are like that, it is not fair to think that everyone will be the same. Now stereotypes stop us from looking at each person as an unique individual. Very important thing, that stereotype does what? Stereotypes stop us from looking at individuals as what? As unique and having special characteristics or qualities, but rather we fix them into an image, fix them together into an image. That is what we do in stereotype. So instead we should do what? We should recognize them as unique individuals. That is what we should do instead. So instead of looking at the person as unique individuals having their own special qualities and skills that are different from others, they fit large number of people into one pattern or type. Stereotypes affect all of us, and they prevent us from doing certain things that we might be good at otherwise. Example, boys are usually believed to be physically strong, more athletic than girls. Suppose there is a girl who loves to play a game which is commonly associated with boys. Example, boxing. You take the example of boxing. So it is not easy for a girl to break the stereotype and go for boxing because it is associated with boys. Now suppose a boy is there who loves to dance. Again, something which is associated more commonly with girls. So the person wants to be a good dancer, but the society and the stereotypes set by the society is preventing him from doing things which he may be good at. I hope you understood this far. The next thing, inequality and discrimination, we'll be discussing in the very next class. Thank you. Now I'll get back to the PDF which I'll be forwarding to you, and your homework is, first thing, the questions given in the book on page number 13 and 14. Yes, page number 14 and page number 15. You'll do it in the book. And I asked you to find out about inclusive education. Thank you everyone. Take care and see you soon.